afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast. Me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda Hero, like Defender of the Fatherland. Off here to 1 vs 1 on glorious Kholodny Ferma wins. Between these, we got Lorgys fighting here for the Oberkommissar, Germany, Deutschland. The Panzergruppe von Strachwitz versus in the west, we got the 101st Airborne fighting here for the Soviet Union, Socialism. The Soviet peoples taking on the role here of the 2nd Guards Mechanized Corps, and we got here fortifications, elite armored, and Feuersturm, dominant infantry, and medic bulletins there. Medical kit bulletins versus advanced warfare, Guard motor and Guard rifle with triple infantry here for the 101st Airborne. We got a double conscript start here. Obviously, he's going to be going for a lot of conscripts. I mean, pretty much all of his doctrines to an extent, at least most of them, somehow point at a lot of conscripts. We got a bunch of folks out here for Lorgys. He's at least got one doctrine to really push in towards it. Elite armor, less so, and all fortification with S-Mons was trying to do some work there for him. We got a double full start here for Lorgys, for Germany, Deutschland. We got the full sitting out there. And here up north, we got the Sturmpanzers further pushing ahead for Germany, advancing the lines of the Reich against those Russen, Schweinhunden. Shots fired there, constantly. It's not really the best engagement, to be honest, for Lorgys. His Sturmpanzers, I mean, while they can do some job plus versus like conscripts in the house, the way he was moving about, it pretty much exposed them to a lot of needless fires. So in this case, it needs to be focused down here. We can see now, in fact, Lorgys, in an attempt to push ahead, this sort of runs in the trap that if it's not well extruded, you end up sort of not quite succeeding as well. So he's doing plenty of stuff, a lot of damage, and they didn't actually do a lot in return. Like, they just didn't achieve anything. So this has been a really bad engagement for Lorgys and the Panzergruppe von Strachwitz already. We got a third force squad on the way there for Lorgys. In the south, we got the convoys there for the munitions. Might in fact push straight for the fuel point. As Lorgys continues his aggressive tactics, again, hyper-aggressive tactics, even versus the 101st Airborne. That is certainly something that stands out there, to put it mildly, in my perspective. So Sturmpanzers waiting about this, probably trying to set munitions up for the medical supplies, which, I mean, have been discounted a bit there. So we can quickly heal them up and get them back into the fight. Of course, it does suck a bit from he has to do this so fast to just get his Sturmpanzers back in action. I mean, that was just not a good engagement. Fighting continues here. Shootout. A lot of bullets being wasted on both sides there. My God. Good thing we have all of these bullets. Yeah, but most of them we have to pick up for own dead. Got Cons flying up behind the Fulskers here. That's going to be a retreat there for Lorgys. He's got to push up, stick here, going for the curve point. So in a sense, they're basically just trying to tie up forces, then trying to sneak and outmaneuver. And we can see that 101st Airborne is using units to occupy vital territory to that way slow down Lorgys. In this case, punishing him for actually not pushing here and defending that better. And in this case, he's not quite exactly having the best time up north here, but the curve point. I mean, his plan is basically being mired down and tied to Russians. Here, though, conscripts and finding rust off the pump, the Sturmpanzer and the Volksgrenadiers. We've got a 4th squad out here for Lorgys, for Deutschland, while those are being reinforced and paying for the next big push for Germany. Point there being secured. And nothing further going on there for Lorgys. Almost got the fuel there rendered neutral. So 101st Airborne is obviously going to have a fuel lead here over Lorgys, who's got a slight munitions lead, but even that is a bit tenuous, to put it mildly. Engineers versus Volksgrenadiere. Healing there going on. Volks preparing for the next big push for the German army. And we got 5 conscript squads out here for the 101st Airborne again. He's committing very heavily to a conscript build, and he's either having to go for advanced warfare Guard rifle, because with 5 conscript squads, if he goes for Guard motor, he's clearly not quite thinking that one through. I mean, if you're going for that many conscripts, you want something that can sort of heavily synergize with them. In this case, submachine guns and counter repair kits will have to really sort of push the most out of his conscripts. Guard rifle would also just the submachine guns and hit the dirt, but he'd kept guardsmen to back them up. Either way, though, he definitely needs to push them. We got a shot on the way there for Lorgys, rather late. Might be he's actually planning for a mechanized regiment here, which I suppose would fit the bill with his medical supply kit bulletins and all that. There's actually intending going for more than one of them, in which case a mechanized regiment and possibly a fast look. Holy smokes, he's going for 6. 6 conscript squads from the 101st Airborne. He is really committing here to a big push against the fascists. In the south, then counting a Sturmpanzer squad who makes very short work there of the Frontoviks, cutting them down in cold blood. Up north, they're making progress. He's tying down a large section of the troops in. Interesting enough, 101st Airborne is not quite a thing, sort of using his infantry right now super efficient here versus Lorgys, which could allow Lorgys some benefit to be honest. Correct. There you go, sneaks in, hits the curve point there as Lorgys is occupied elsewhere, and there we go, got the mechanized regiment up here for the Panzergruppe von Strachwitz, named after General Hyacinth von Strachwitz, also known as the Panzergraf. Fun fact there. And he was known as the Devil's General by the Soviets. They were not particularly happy about him, shall we put it like that. Got flame for this moving here, going to clear out the house. The very good move there by Lorgys. Grabbing the point up here. Folks need to fall back, and there we go. We got a massive push here though from the 101st Airborne. A sweeping tide of socialism. Here by the cutoff point, this jump has quickly pushed them off and regained control of the cutoff point. We got an MD-34 on the way here. Very wise decision considering the sheer number of infantry the 101st Airborne is swinging about here. They'll probably actually need a second MD-34 to really have a chance of stopping all that. Ground points here. And back here we got medics most likely on the way here for... No, he's going for Molotovs and anti-tank grenades. Here, Mr. 101st Airborne. Help! I think I can see my spleen. You don't need it. You only need socialism. Spleens are for cowards and fascists and kulaks. Okay. Constantly pushed back there by the MD-34. Back here, troops reinforcing. Looks there's going to be some time off. Well, metal kits there being quickly exploited by the German infantry. We got their push for the centre again. Lorgys, the south, is once more a bit exposed, like an underbelly. Slightly flabby and sticking out. There you go. Again, we can see now the 101st Airborne is not really being able to make full use of, I think, of all of his conscript corps. They're just sweeping numbers, which is more difficult for Lorgys and the Panzergruppe von Strachwitz to contain. The Panzergruppe itself was actually composed of 2 Panzer brigades stationed on the Eastern Front. One of which was a much more ad hoc one formed from elements of an SS training station or depot somewhere in the Baltics, known as the SS Panzerbrigade Wolf, and then an actual Panzer Brigade, the 101st, as a fun fact. Got Molotovs, incendiaries, they're being flung at each other there. Lots of fire. Lots of fire. It's going to heat them up nicely here in the cold, but that's about it. We got some storm guns that are being unleashed up close into the Russians' faces. There we go, successfully pushing them back, hitting the cutoff point again. Here, Lorgys is certainly a bit outmaneuvered here by 101st Airborne. Just raw numbers, and he's certainly in this case now beginning to exploit again, just more efficiently, just having large numbers of conscripts against Lorgys, because this is kind of how I want to play them, not by blobs, but just using the sheer numbers. Just keep looking for gaps and then sneaking in troops through them, hitting territory, cutting off and denying resources. Even you might lose an engagement. If you can just keep denying your opponent resources, prevent him from taking out fast, you can then pull ahead, you know, for tech and armor. So far 101st Airborne is definitely pulling off a very nasty strategy here, and Lorgys is very much struggling with it. He's going to need something to defend the cutoff point, and he can't immediately rush for a spare Panther quarters, maybe machine gun bunkers. He's going to have to station MD-34 down. There's some other infantry. It's a little bit risky, and we can see Lorgys here. He's going for the Puma. He's probably worried about a T-70 rush, in which case the Puma also is going to be the best choice then, sort of countering that. I can't know if it's going to be too slow and could risk being wiped out by the T-70 easily. So I can see why Lorgys is going for it. Plus, I mean, if 101st Airborne is aiming for T-34s, the Pumas can provide some support against the T-34s. I mean, it's not going to be like amazing, but they can sort of reasonably fight them. So I can understand Lorgys' decision making here versus 101st Airborne at the moment. But again, 101st Airborne is just playing the 6 conscript squads highly aggressively, and he's not being a complete putz about it. I mean, again, initially there was some mistake which sort of blobbed up, but he's really sort of getting into the hang of it now of just handling 6 separate infantry squads on the battlefield aggressively. And again, he's using them in the most efficient manner, which I'd call breakthrough tactics. Well, exploitation tactics. Well, let's call it deep fighting tactics. Again, you look for the gaps, you push in, trying to go as deep as possible, hit the most soft spots, and that way force your opponents have to constantly react to those things, causing him to be very much in defensive, because he doesn't have the sufficient force to really force you to, you know, fight him on his terms. So this is overall very clever play there behind the 1st Airborne. It's also how I personally play this, so it's they don't personally go for 6 conscripts to do it. I can usually do it with 4 conscripts personally fine, but like, you can do it with 6, but it's certainly a bit of a trickier one. We got the PPH-41s that are being handed out. Fun fact about the PPSH-41 was actually a copy of a finished submachine gun. More or less. Might have been less efficient in some ways, but largely a copy of that. There's a fun note. Salvaging stuff, grabbing points as fast as possible. Got the pool moving up there, firing with his 50mm gun and his coaxial MG34. Being pursued there, but the conscript is obviously not taking the conscript lightly. The precision of a tank grenade could really land his Puma in a lot of trouble. In particular, if 101st Airborne's got any light vehicles, anything like that sneaking about here. But so far, 101st Airborne is fully relying on conscripts. 10 minutes into the game, they can do 6 conscript scores, and Lorgys is very much struggling with it. Understandably so. Quick hit there with a coaxial machine gun, gunning down for Petrov there, and fortifications. He's building a flak emplacement? Wow, we're actually seeing a 2cm flak 38 emplacement going down. Holy smokes. He's setting up to defend the cop on the fuel point. That's actually pretty interesting. You don't see those very often. But there you go. 2cm flak 38 up here. At this part of the war, they would largely been used against ground targets, and most aircraft would have been armoured up to the point where the 2 centimeters on its own just weren't good enough. And there it goes, straight into the flying place from there. Letting it just blasted into bits there. Hold on it. Push back there. What treachery is this? Flak against ground targets? Now the fascists truly are breaking the rules of war. I don't actually think there's actual rules of war, Sergei. Shut up. They are when they are, I say so they are. Because they're being pushed back. The Fultz Grenadiers, other squad, they're pushed back. Troops are reinforcing healing, but increasing as the war went on, these been more and more put into the role of, well, essentially heavy machine guns for the German army, just last used against ground targets, as a fun fact. That would also to an extent include the flak feeling, which of course, while having a high rate of fire, also struggle with penetration, so, Little fun fact there. There you go, Puma sending about, again patrolling with its 8th wheel, so 8 Rad. Big push here, blobbing up, need to be careful about that, Lorgys, 4 seconds. Oh dear, got too close to the conscripts, and managed to rod an anti-tank grenade there. Slightly lucky there for Lorgys. Ultra repair pioneers up. Pushing to the south, the MG34 though is not prepared for this, and note again, he's just already sort of anticipating anything. He's just sort of sitting about for a deeper flank already. Very good move there by 101st Airborne. Again, he's handling all of these conscripts very confident increasingly, and he's avoiding blob tactics, which is actually really impressive, and I think really sort of speaks highly of 101st Airborne's infantry management skills, because a lot of players who go for a lot of conscripts would just blob them up, but he's not. He's playing them intelligently like a sneaky prick. That's definitely very much worth following. Again, comparatively, Lorgys doesn't have nearly that much, and he's just blobbing it about here. So, Lorgys definitely needs to change up his tactics a bit, because, again, even he sort of makes some kind of victory one spot, 101st Airborne is a lot of places elsewhere. But again, the flag emplacement in this case does help offset it, as it makes it really difficult for him to harass here, since the flag emplacement can very quickly shot down in infantry with its 2 centimeter flak. Another MG34 here. I mean, again, he's sort of seeing through here 101st Airborne's tactics, so another MG34 is also good. Meanwhile, the 101st Airborne is now trying to pull ahead and take advantage of his advantage and begin pushing for tanks. He could go for the T-3476, we could go for the T-3435. Bigger push around the cuff point here. Conscript pushing back there with their PPH-41s. Assault rifles just blazing away. Falling a bit back here. Lorgys has managed to stabilize the situation in this part. Again, the flanking placement I think does do a great deal of good for him, because he allows to actually, push his infantry more aggressively, since the flanking placement can actually cover a surprisingly large amount of territory. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa! We got an actual aggressive flank emplacement. Whoa! Puma there, damage got an MG34 coming up. This pushing forward, so building the flat emplacement. Troops are being suppressed. Some manage to hit the dirt. We got the forces pulling out. They're popping an incendiary grenade into the midst of it. Flag emplacement is almost done. Can he finish it in time? Ah! Incendiary grenade off. There we go. Troops push back. Flag emplacement can't Can maybe get off a few hits. There we go. Cutting down several Russians to ribbons. An aggressive flak emplacement covering his opponent's cut-off point. Lorgys, you madman. Or mad woman. I mean, you know, let's not assume too much. Anyways, India's pushing ahead here. Flak emplacement with 38 kills, 3 kills. Holy smokes. 3 seconds allowed something, got 38 kills. That would be broken. Or 101st Airborne would have done something truly wrong. He's going for the T-3476. It might in fact have possibly been spurred a bit on by the arrival of the flak emplacement. Like again, he can't actually do a lot now thanks to the flak emplacement. So he has to go for the T-3476 rather than wait for the T-35. That's actually pretty clever there by Lorgys. I mean, it's really ballsy, and he could just get knocked out, but it's sort of clever and sort of funny. We'll have to see how this works out. He's going for Academy after his opposite, anticipating his opponent bringing up armor. I mean, he hasn't seen any light vehicles at this stage. Lorgys knows it's all about those medium tanks. And you heard before the slightly wallingly set up, and there goes just falling back. There's the right decision here by Lorgys. That is very much the right decision. MD-34 got wiped. Too slow there. T-34 course proving to be highly lethal. And I think he needs to up some troop support. The flak emplacement, particularly once he knows armor's coming, he should be leaving the flak emplacement so easily defend with the other T-34 taking hits from the flak emplacement of Puma. Panther fast off as well. We could see the T-34 go down and not the flak emplacement. And there you go, he gets the T-34 troops in the MD-34, but then to fire from the flak emplacement, grabs the car point, but the flak emplacement opens up, tearing into them like a winter storm. 7 kills. They can't see him anymore though. He could attack around though. He knows where they are technically, but he's probably a bit too busy. Oh, there you go. They open up and immediately get another peppering, immediately piling up more casualties. Whew, that is impressive. Sis-3 on the way for 101st Airborne. That could very well be the demise of the flak emplacement who gets repaired. He's got no real counters to a field gun, just deciding to take up shots that the flak emplacement. That's when also betrays a bit, you know, it's a weakness, but at the same time, the fact he's able to just deny his opponent a lot of fuel, I think, with the flak emplacement at this stage, plus getting a lot of kills with it, I think it's all honestly earned itself in. So, I mean, this is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Assault in again, no, once more. Takes a deep path here. Again, 101st Airborne really sort of has, you know, flanking sort of, I think, internalized to a great degree. And he's the sort of player you really have to worry about because he's the one that's really dangerous for the Soviets or any faction really. But again, Soviets are really, really nasty with these kind of tactics. If you know how to flank, again, that involves taking deeper paths, longer routes. Oh, go wipe there though. Small victory here though for Lorgys. Flanking placement repaired, and there goes his 3 arms up. There's not really again anything you can do to save it at this stage. Like it was nice while it lasted, but it's time to go. What he could have better do, maybe just begin playing down emplacements else. But honestly, he has to take up soon. He can't afford to just keep laying down flat emplacements. Troops pushing up, they're getting suppressed. Car point resecured, didn't grab the fuel pump what he could have. That might have been a bit of a mistake there by Lorgys. You know, could have further delayed 101st Airborne from getting an additional fuel, which would have been amazing. Also, more pressure in the south there. Either way, HPR Panther quarters going up. Troops rushing ahead there. Hoorah! Hoorah! Don't worry, there's not a flak emplacement about anymore. We can hoorah safely. Finding around the fuel point here, comes into the assault rifle fire being gutted. Absolutely gutted there by accurate assault rifle fire there. Good work by Lorgys and the Panzergruppe von Strachwitz. Back here, troops in reinforcing, pushing it for the central victory point with the Pilfer machine gun, the field gun, and the conscripts. And there you go, just a small conscript. We can see immediately there, Lorgys just hits retreat. Not going to hang about any longer because otherwise, he could be able to risk a wipe if he's too slow. Finding around the south again, flank emplacement once more. Just does its job and halts any harassment there. And we could see wipe down the engineers. And there you go, flame for a drop. There doesn't have any troops that immediately within the vicinity able to seize it and claim it for Germany. So German peoples, the Kreis is Flammenwerfer. Even so, it smells a bit like vodka and socialism. Because they're being murdered by the Flak emplacement. The bigger one. The Flak, well, fair pounded quarters technically. Troops suppressed by the nuclear from the church. Fighting here for the cop one again. Not bad, not bad. Aim for suppression. There goes Sturmpod taking advantage of the suppression, then move in and finish off the Russian bastards. Marine support, but there you go. Sturmpod just wrecking the console. They're almost wiping them out, even though they take a minor loss. There you go. Got a full wipe there. Pretty good here for Lorgys, pushing him down to just 4 counter-squads. Got the field going here for the spare punted quarters. He needs to counter-attack here because losing that is going to be absolutely disastrous for Lorgys. Disastrous. You can see the troops being hit. They might delay things. Gaining a flamethrower here. Full squad needs support. Oh, he's digging to the cover, which actually, I mean, he's basically sort of in trouble either way because it gets out to them. Some seems to tear him apart. If he stays in the cover, the flamethrower will tear him apart. That's pretty much a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario. Constantly charging the jump unit. Sturmpod has the need to retreat. They're doing their best, but ultimately it's just not. Oh, he's going to lose them. Quite a shame there. They could have hit Bechnify, which would have been great. Could have been great. We got more Sturmpods on the way there for Lorgys. That's 101st Airborne. He's very, very close to the T-35. And there we go. T-35 available here to support the 2nd Guards Mechanized Corps in his push against fascism. Almost got the Maxim there. Oh, the MT-34 actually not a Maxim. Forces flanking up behind their veteran 5. 27 kills for Germany. And there you go. Forces flanking also do the job here. Nope, Manhunt going to deal with the concept as they hit the dirt. At which point, lying down on the ground is a really bad idea. Usually, stop, drop, and roll does not mean dropping into an incendiary grenade or a Molotov or anything like that. T-35 there on the way, halfway done for the 101st Airborne. Lorgys some time over there from a Panther. You might want to consider a Panzer 4 here. Yak Panzer more likely. I mean, there's the theoretical Panther as well. Flamethrower there dropped again. He's actually lost on the consequence phase. Now see 101st Airborne is really suffering here against Lorgys. So the T-35 will help him out a bunch. There we go. T-35 then mobilized to fight for the motherland. Quick aside for those wondering about the fuel drums on the back. Those, well, are basically fuel drums. They were there for use for increased range in the tanks. It was actually a common tactic. Usually they'd be empty by the time. There were occasional cases where they weren't, and in which case they catch on fire. Then, in which case the tank was pretty much right off. But normally it'd be sort of, you know, dropped off. And of course, assuming the tank got there far, T-34s had some issues with the reliability and had a tendency of breaking down, which tends not to get talked about a lot actually, but the T-34 had some severe engine reliability issues. Finding the North T-44 as conscripts. He shouldn't be rushing into the submachine guns. That's basically winning engagement there then for 101st Airborne's conscripts. Should have fought with their range there with the assault rifles. So right there, let's go there for Lorgys. In the south, we got T-34 going for the Flak emplacement. Academy for Puma should be moving into support as well here. And we got this history of bombarding the church. Going to try and flush it up. We got the infantry one. There we go. Moving in, taking hits from the Puma. Academy for Lancer got it as well in the T-35. Puma though is heavily damaged, but also close to veteran G2. Flare trip mounts going off. They're slowing down Lorgys' brutal advance against the 101st Airborne and the 2nd Guards Mechanized Corps. We got Tilify there against the church. Needs to fall back here. Needs to fall back here. Troops setting out once more for Deutschland. And Puma being fixed up. Then you can move on to fixing up the Flak emplacement. Grabbing the northern victory points wise. This is actually pretty close between the two so far though. And there you go, Lorgys is in with the Panther. It does have some advantage against the T-45. Constantly just shredding their way through most of Lorgys' folks. He really should either consider a bunch more steel pioneers. I think Orbital Dome would honestly be the more cost efficient choice here. Just Orbital Dome. They make it a lot harder here for 101st Airborne to about his troops freely. But there you go, forcing me one squad. Counter-attack here with a lot of Fultons with the assault rifles. Getting replacement troops there since he's obviously suffered some losses against Lorgys. And we got the Panthers, sort of roughly halfway down there for the Panzergruppe von Strachwitz. Mines being laid down. And there we go. Panzerkampfwagen 5. Pinman machine all the way. Got a 5th country squad there for 101st Airborne, grabbing the northern fuel. T-55 sending in here though for the motherland. Hey Petrov, see if you can't hit that guy. No, not that guy, the other guy. Yes, that guy. Now try and shoot him. Got the Panther moving in there. Quick to reveal its person. Shoot at the conscripts. When there's a T-55 to be shot at. I mean, he does, of course, 101st Aim to get a bit more cautious, but I would suppose he loses a bit of an element of surprise. Actually, he's attacked around trying to catch the Panther. Not bad. In this case, miss. And he's still not allowing to just focus only on tanks. Puma trying to sneak in, but that's quickly halted. And we got a big push into the south here. Still got conscious sneaking about the fuel point. Well, still protected here thanks to the Flak emplacement. Flare trip marks going down. He's been laying down a bunch. Very good work there by 101st Airborne. There you go. Conscripts rolling in. MD-34 pointing in the wrong direction. And we got the T-55 straight here for the Flak guns. No, and armoured support nearby or vehicular support. MD-34 retreating. Complete route here in the south as 101st Airborne strikes like Soviet lightning. Panther remains static but finally gets on the move here. Cannon for Puma down in again. Betty 2 gain for the Puma. T-55 takes several hits here. And the south got jump as a conscript with flamethrowers hitting the dirt though, except for one guy apparently has to stand up to use it. Interesting. And there you go, another T-55 on the way here for 101st Airborne. Lorgys finds himself on one of the defensive, whatever bounty he's gun had is quickly vanishing as 101st Airborne is now going for a bunch of conscripts again easily. Quick shot there into taking it off, damaging the Indian, the Panther, that's less good. A lot less good. We've got a massive infantry surge here from Lorgys. Again, his infantry usage in some ways seems a bit inferior to 101st Airborne. Again, he's allowing 101st Airborne to more easily control the field. I'm just going to keep playing that there. He's going to need a lot more flak emplacement to cover up a lot more points, to be honest. Certainly a lot more than what he's got at the moment, because he's sort of in a way just conceding a lot of ground, and 101st Airborne is so far, I would say, proven more than adept at just sort of playing around the sort of text there in that sense. While he might suffer fighting against the block directly, or the haughty, he's sort of very good at just grabbing territory, ensuring that Lorgys doesn't really gain much of a resource advantage from these kind of tactics. Ooh, nasty hit there from the T-55, 11 kills close to a T2. Panther is being repaired. Puma is moving in as well. And there you go, folks up north here, getting hammered by the T-55. Second one is also robbed here for the 101st Airborne, providing additional threats here against Lorgys. We'll have to see what he goes for next. T-55 looks like he's rolling in here. Not enough support nearby except for the Kidnapper, so he could lose the flank plate and Panther there. Getting off good hits against the T-55, though also taking several hits in return. There we go, another penetrating here. The Panther, the armors of the Panther so far not really showing itself here. There's only an argument to be made about the case that the German armor is increasingly devaluated to the point where it doesn't really do much. Need to fall back with the Panther here. There you go, flat and play for down, but he gets the T-55 actually. Looks like 101st Air wasn't quite paying attention. Line the spare Panther quarters and the Kholodny getting off some heavy damage. There you go. Troops down to the MD-34. Suppressing these parts of it, but there you go, hitting the dirt. Others trying to outmaneuver. Oh, just getting pinned down right in time, but he needs to get up some supporting troops to cover the machine gun. Ours is not going to last for much longer. Back here, healing reinforcement, flooding manpower. Also going to be a good choice. He could also begin considering maybe going for some howitzers. He lost another MD-34. That's pretty bad. Lorgys needs more careful with that. But a howitzer would provide him with artillery support, allow him to knock out some of the support position there. Maybe sort of break up attacks from 101st Airborne. But otherwise, all was well done. He's going for a replacement MD-34. That can work. But I'm not entirely sure if that was what I would go for now. Panther putting back for repairs. There you go, Brandhandgranate off.
Heavy machine gun team ready for that.
Panther going to take some time there. It is close to Victory 4, but grenade off there, pushing back the counter from the victory point, but he's bleeding out fast here. 236 versus 329, whatever sort of equilibrium or sort of balance between the two terms of victory point has vanished, flushed down the toilet, as Lorgys has struggled to maintain good map control here versus 101st Airborne, who has been aggressively prioritising map control, even I think destroying Lorgys' forces, and it's actually like just do a lot of harm in certain ways. Also got air support ready for a single strafe, to be more specific, coming up against the Volksgrenadiers. And no hit the dirt here, we got more Volksmen, he's going to have to retreat from here. Bit of shootout here, Volksmen being engaged with the conscious as they're closing in rapidly. Puma repairs, Panther moving forwards. And then you go push back. He's really, I think, should consider Flak emplacement around to defend the southern half. That I think could really pay off well there for Lorgys. I think could pay off well for him. Northern victory point secured here for the German army. Once more for the Panzergruppe von Strachwitz. Saying Guards Mechanized Corps that just keeps steaming onwards for Stalin. And we got another flanking placement, but up more close north, close to his fuel point. I think again he should go for the south because, in a sense, it's a low priority zone there for 101st Airborne. He's clearly more focused on defending his own fuel point and such. So I mean, sending the flanking placement close to that does have some risks there. Whereas in the south, I think it would be overall less risky. He's building a machine gun bunker, which isn't bad either. But I don't know. I mean, he might be setting up for another tank. Could be saying for another Panther here. There you go. Like Kholodny versus the T-35 close to Victory 2. So Panther hits, no other supporting armor vehicles nearby. Panther remains static, flanking placement just sort of hanging about here, enjoying the weather. And the fact it has a nice static position to sit behind. But there you go, bunker ready, needs to upgrade the machine gun Schnell. You could actually consider laying down some S-mounts with this Volksgrenadier versus Lorgys. I mean, 101st Airborne. And there you go, machine gun gewehr bunker. Panther in the straight in front of the field gun. That was definitely, I think, less advice. It might have been a tactical error there, or pathing mistake. I mean, that's certainly possible. This Panther takes several hits there. Not good. Troops are pressing. There you go. Machine gun bunker ready for Lorgys in the south. So it's got basically two of the victory points locked down somehow with static defences. Some S-mounts still would be good for him. And he can actually soon go for a second Panther. We got an issue finally on the way to the 101st Airborne. That's going to be some trouble there for Lorgys. It's going to be some trouble. There you go, going here, but straight into the MD-34 bunker, or MD-42 bunker I suppose. Shoot the machine gun, but it's a bunker. Shoot the machine gun. Oh, okay, just stop shouting at me. I'm not shouting. Yes, you are. Shut up, I'll hit you. Troops healing reinforcing, and there you go, flanking placement fights. Sufficient volume of covering fire to defend the northern victory point. Getting 2 kills pretty fast actually. So it's actually 3 flanking placements built during the fight here for Lorgys. That's actually quite interesting. Machine gun bunker in this case easily dispatched. No armoured vehicle support ready nearby to support. Should anticipate actually there'll be a tank moving down to deal with it, but Lorgys I think was suited to focus on the north here, so it was clearly dealt with. Oh well, going for the centre one, we got an MD-34 covering there, no artillery for Lorgys. Howitzer could, have been helpful there, but if he's got anything, he needs to go for the Panther now if he actually can. He can, in which case he should go for it, he should go for a Panther, but either way, he shouldn't be floating these kind of resources now. Air support called in, punches there being almost wiped out with the Panther Puma combo. It's gonna happen, it's gonna happen! Hit the dirt was just not enough against that. In the centre, air support pulled off there, unit of course wiped, a lot of tanks. Tank destroyers. Lorgys still not calling in additional armour. Come on Lorgys, call in some panzers. Send them in to destroy some Marxist scum. And there you go. Second Panther on the way there for Lorgys. Second Panther. Now, of course, once the tanks are in to try and support the southern point, which again got quickly moved on, he struck there. He moves on to the next one, clearing out the Flak, which now is not a defense rally against tanks either. So, right, you can see the 101st Airborne remains in initiative against Lorgys, and Lorgys just overall sluggishness not paying off. Hits a mine there, went in blindly. Panther takes several hits here, down to half health in a matter of moments. Puma trying to support here, not looking good here. Panther's slow. Had he had the other, gone for it as soon as he could have easily had it supporting the Panther here, but instead he's knocked out Panther, which is heavily outgunned, only supported by the Puma, which is not exactly having a great time versus all this ration equipment either. So this is really terrible for Lorgys. This is really terrible. This is essentially punishment for some of his mistakes there. Shot in this case actually bouncing off. That's pretty lucky for Lorgys. Folks coming in, needs to pull around the corner. Pull around the corner. Ah, he's not doing it. He's not doing it. He should have pulled around the corner. I'm not entirely sure why he's not doing it. He could have saved himself from some of the shots. Instead, he parks his Panther right in front of him. I mean, he could have pulled around here. That would have given the other Panther more time to arrive and, further just, maybe drag them in close to the position because they can't get away. Now it's rushing in the Panther against eventually T-35, which is by fighting up close, which is really bad. It has a high rate of fire. Plus, you got the issue-5 there. We got more forces moving in. Pull back the Panther, use distance. Distance! Gets the T-35, but his Panther's already so low on health here. And now it's going to try and get the issue-5 with it. No, don't go there, Lorgys. Rückzug! Rückzug! Scheiße. That is really not good. I mean, while his flying plays have been pretty good, his Panther handling so far has not been good at all. And for that matter, his method of acquiring the Panthers has not been solid either. I mean, again, he could have 2 Panthers out to fight this engagement, plus the Puma. Instead, he didn't have it. So, I mean, there's definitely some issues there in terms of using his resources efficiently. And that's definitely only something that benefits the opponent's already got the advantage. Another machine gun bunker up here. Oh, he's going up. You got the folks that are holding up. Meanwhile, so he's at least consistent there about it, which is interesting. It's actually rare to see someone making use of the defensive elements of the fortifications that much. That's very interesting. But he might like to get the machine gun here back. It's of course a bit awkward. He's lost 2 MG-34s to his opponent. Not 1, but 2. Plus, I like getting there for now. Now the Chief had fallen away the 101st Airborne. Lorgys is definitely not going to see another Panther happening. It's just not enough. Troop sealing reinforcing. T-35 there out for Lorgys. Another tank, and the machine gun bunker is once more exposed in the south. And he's got nothing to support it with. Again, he just threw away all of his Panthers, plus his Puma. And he has been doing nothing to defend against tanks, no mines, no kidnappers nearby. So the T-35 in this case can easily move in to deal with it. So that is less good for Lorgys, a lot less good. Turn grenade putting in there. Victory points still being lost overall. And there you go. Bunker number 2 is down. What a shame. But Lorgys always struck me here, I think, would say, versus 101st Airborne. And he's been doing well, in particular in the flank plays, really did well here to sort of slow down some 101st Airborne sort of tactical movements with all his counters. But in the end, like, sort of, I would say the deficiencies of Lorgys tactically are really beginning to show off. But he's still not giving up. Here we got the Panther 4 out for Lorgys for Deutschland. But I definitely not rate his chance of winning this as being particularly high. Okay, now we're going for the southern victory point. We got a fuel cache up, which of course further supplies on the first airborne with resource, also makes him harder to harass. Panther 4 moving in versus a T-35. not good. Plus he's dropping them by. This is definitely some problematic implication for Lorgys. Conjuring in there, popping another anti-tank grenade, damaging the Panther 4. And we got the T-12 shoots, bounces off the Panther 4's frontal armor. In the south, there we go. GG, game over. Lorgys realizes he's lost. Pulls back the remnants of the Panzergruppe von Strachwitz before it's lost. A brutal fight right here on Kholodny Ferma. There's a lot of interesting things. High, again, good usage of conscripts there by 101st Airborne. Certainly showing how to use large number of conscripts. Good use of armor, good use of the sort of doctrine in that sense. Lorgys still struggling there again. Overall, I think 999 just raw mob tactics and not so much in maneuver. His machine gun use at times also, I think, too passive, which you really wanted to try and push harder. Flak replacement definitely, I think, were great use at the times. Particularly that one up here was amazing, but he just couldn't keep it up. And I do think that Panther was just a mistake. He probably should have gone for Panther Force mixed up with the Yak Panthers to have a chance there. Plus, more mines are just better use of his doctrine long term, besides just flanking placement of a few bunkers. Pack 43s, maybe a howitzers, I think could also go a long way there for Lorgys. But there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, tell friends, share it with everyone. If not, send in replay on the point and feedback in the comment section. This is Imperial LinkedIn. Cheers. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you tomorrow for a nice hunting episode.